everyone, it's Dragon here, back with another video, and today we're going to be talking about the new Spring 2021 update as it has just come to, the game a few days ago. And there are a lot of videos on this already, but I'm gonna try to, give some detail. And I also took a survey and I wanted to see how other people, how they felt, all that. So we're gonna get into that as well. I made a video a while back about, just a brief summary of what's gonna happen in the update. So if you have not watched that, go watch that now. If you don't feel like it though, if you're just too lazy, all that good stuff, I understand, don't worry. I'm in the same boat, I'm lazy, it's fine. So here's the brief update recap. Not as detailed as my video, but it's just the brief update recap. So of course there was PvP duos that were added. They removed a bunch of servers unofficial, all that stuff. They're gonna take some measures against duping, all that stuff. All that good stuff seems to be going pretty smoothly. No one's complaining about it to my awareness. However, we're going to be talking mostly about the really major update in this Spring 2021 update, which was the removal of ads and everything to go along with that. The root of this update was the removal of ads. So we're going to talk about that. Let's get into other people's opinions. So I took a survey, and the survey was like, how long have you played ARK for? How do you feel about the new update overall? If you didn't like us, tell us why. If you did, tell us why as well. All that good stuff. So we're gonna get into all of that in a second, So it seems like 47% of the replies came from players who actually have played for 2 to 4 years, which is quite a long time. I'd say I'm kind of in that range. A quarter of the replies came from players who have played for a year or under. So these people are kind of new to the game, a couple months, maybe just under a year, maybe a year. And 28% of the replies came from players who have played since the launch, or, just a little bit under that. Since the game's been out for about 4 years or so, the mobile version. A quarter of the replies did not like the update, so 25% of the replies did not like the update. About 16% of the responses said it didn't really affect their gameplay or they don't really care. And 59% of responses liked the update. So it seems like the vast majority of replies actually really liked this update, which is a really good sign that Grove Street is going in the right direction. So yeah, let's take a look at some of the reasoning behind the people who like the update. Many replies stated that they are happy for the removal of ads, and they're really happy that Amber is really easy to get now. So before you kind of had to watch an ad every 15 minutes, Primal Pass players would get 3 Amber per ad, and non-Primal Pass would get 2 Amber. So it was kind of a good way, to lazily farm ads and all that, get Amber with all that good stuff, right? And a lot of people liked that, but some people didn't like that, especially because you would get ads when you would log in, all that good stuff, so you don't really want that. Some say that they like how lag has been reduced, so there have been a lot of people reporting how lag has been reduced and how they can, play the game more smoothly. And some people said that they are really enjoying the sense of equality in the game for all players and that they are all just appreciating the devs' hard work. So there were a lot of people who were just saying, I like how all players kind of have an equal experience now, and I cannot say the same for Primal Pass users. I don't think they would agree with that statement, but a lot of non-Primal Pass players are really appreciating how they also get to experience no ads and how the devs are really listening to their replies and how they're really going to, do what they want, Some people said that they are just appreciating the devs' hard work, which again is a really good thing to say, because the devs are really just doing their best to, appreciate everyone's responses to their questions. What do you want to add to the game? All that. And they're really doing what everyone wants. Of course, there are going to be people who don't want it, but they're just doing what they can, and yeah. So that's something that a lot of players are really happy about, how they can, they can know that the devs are listening, so it's really good to hear. Here is the brief summary of the people who did not like the update and what they are upset about. Most of the replies from people disliking the update were complaining about how they personally think Amber is harder to get. So there were people who were complaining about how they think Amber is more difficult to get, and now you have to put more work into it to get Amber. They do not like that. There are other people who were complaining about, how the layout of the shop is just not really suiting what they want. How they like the old shop layout better, and how, just the constant rotation is really not something they like. And others, they really brought up interesting points, thinking that the game is one step closer to a pay-to-play experience. And we'll get into that a little bit more, but there was a few responses who brought up really good points, so we're gonna get into that more at some point. I also asked those with Primal Pass how they feel about the update, because I know that this really has a deep impact for people with Primal Pass. As a person with Primal Pass, I also think that I can agree with the majority of responses from the Primal Pass users. Most people who replied to this question, they're saying that they aren't getting compensated enough for the update and how they feel ripped off. You know, how they feel like since they paid for no ads, they paid for that and now everyone's getting it, they feel like they should be getting something else now that that's been given to everyone. And they feel like what they've given to them is not enough to replace that, you know, and I can kind of agree with that. Others are saying that they feel like they stopped paying for it overall, and they just think that the monthly drops as well have kind of just been kind of lacking, and I can agree with that. And they're saying how now that ads are gone, it's just another reason not to buy Primal Pass anymore, and I can kind of also agree to that. There were some people saying that they were unsure or that they don't have any problems with it at all. The majority of Primal Pass users did not like the update, but there were the few people who were saying, I don't know yet. I don't know if I like it or I don't like it. And then there were the people who were like, I don't really care. It really doesn't, I just don't have any problems with it. Then I asked people, how are you feeling about the new shop? You know, just get into more depths about how you feel about the shop. And here are some replies. There was a lot of replies, but I'm just gonna summarize it, man. So they were saying it's pretty even regarding the amount of complaints and the amount of people saying they don't care. It was a little heavier on the complaint side, but you know, it was relatively even. Some players complained about how they don't like the new layout and they don't like the new rotation of the shop. Others were complaining about the prices, claiming that Grove Street is forcing people to buy Amber. And I can agree with this, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. They're doing this to compensate for their own losses, getting rid of Amber ads, because Amber ads and ads revenue in general is just a really good way for mobile games to get revenue and to get money and to profit off of their game. So reducing that or getting rid of it completely is just a really big loss financially. So they're trying to find other ways to get more money for the loss of that. So forcing people, I wouldn't call it forcing, but they are trying to tip people in the direction of buying Amber so they can get the stuff that they want when it's available, you know? Some people disliked how buffs and transfer tickets have increased in value. I can agree with this. I do not like how transfer tickets have increased in value. However, Amber is easier in my opinion to get now. I haven't really spent a lot of time doing it, but I have been quite lucky with the Amber instead of the drops. So yeah, I think that is something that I can agree on though. I don't like how transfer tickets have increased in value and buffs. There are a lot of people who are like 40 Amber for intense focus. Are you kidding me? And I can see how that might be a little bit of a problem, you know? The other replies were being reasonable, you know, to some degree. They were stating how they understood that Grove Street is doing what they can for players while keeping a steady income. So there are people who are like, you know, the game's just doing what they can, trying to keep the players happy, but also trying to gain revenue, which I can understand as well. So that was majority. That was like kind of the brief summary of people's opinions, you know? They really just feel like that it's good, it's bad, you know? It's kind of evened out to some degree, but we're gonna get into my opinion now. And my opinion is really confusing. And I really took into consideration other people's opinions while kind of going through my opinion, because they really gave me a new light on the situation. Because at first I was kind of like, oh man, this is kind of not really good. And I was kind of leaning towards the negative sides. But now that I've read other people's responses, you know, I'm kind of in a gray area between I like it and I don't like it, leaning more towards the I like it option. So yeah, let's get into that. There are many downsides to this update, I will agree, but overall, it is a really reasonable compromise for the loss of ad revenue. I feel like it's really reasonable and understandable for the game, so I don't think, I don't know, I don't think it's that bad. Many players are complaining about ads, and you know, the developers are trying to reduce that while maintaining a stable income. Taking into consideration, the shop prices are changing and they are reasonable. It's hard to keep everyone happy, you know? The dev is really just trying to keep everyone happy. You know, they've gotten a lot of complaints about ads, PvP players mostly, saying that it's really a huge disadvantage for them. And they're just taking that into consideration. They're saying, well, a lot of people don't like our game because of ads. So how can we remove ads while continuing to make money, while replacing ad revenue, you know? So we're just going to take that into consideration while thinking about this update, you know? We're going to put ourselves in Grove Street's shoes. Another problem developers face is the fact that they still have players who bought Primal Pass. You know, there are people who pay for their game still. Primal Pass, it's a monthly membership for no ads, more Amber, and more things like that, you know? So they paid for no ads, they paid for more Amber, they paid for drops. I myself have noticed that the Primal Pass drops are kind of lacking, as I said before. Like, they're really not as good as they used to be, and the new update really hasn't replaced the loss of ads for the, you know, people who are paying for that in the first place. The whole update is a major change, and it's really, really a tedious process, as I said before. It's a big change. Grove Street, I understand that they really just need to think about that a bit. They know people are paying for their game, and I have a feeling things will come for Primal Pass users. But for now, they're really just trying to focus on everyone right now, because really it's just all over the place with people. So I can see that. There were people who mentioned how they feel like this is a way to limit duping and exploits. You know, I can see how that might be something they could do, you know, if things are on constant rotation, they can't buy the item in the first place to dupe it. But at the same time, I'm having my doubts about how this would affect dupers if they already have one of the items in general, especially if you can just run the dungeon and get them, you know. Not that I wouldn't really know how you would do that in the first place, but I'm assuming in order to duplicate something, you need to have one of the item first. So I can see how that might, you know, do something. But dupers are definitely one of the major reasons Arc is not making as much money, because people are kind of just getting it for free if they can dupe it. So it's definitely worth a shot. It's worth a shot. In the long run, I can safely say that it will not make that much of a difference to me, as in many servers I play in have, you know, I have most things already. So I don't need to worry about constant rotation, because I kind of have all the premiums I need, other than pheromones. But yeah. If I were to start a new server, though, Amber would be really hard to come by early game. So that's another problem some people did say. Some replies stated that they are too low level to fly to Amber drops anyway, and that it's a major disadvantage early game. But they can, you know, take the time to level up. It really is not that hard if you go to a server with, you know, some good boosts, you know. Also, taming a bird only takes maximum a good hour. You know, like an RG. You can do that, you know? It's just a leveling to get access to the drops, which is a problem, but I can see how that might be a problem. But, you know, you can take the time to do it. It's not that big of an issue. Overall, I think it was an update that Grove Street Games tried to release to stop ad complaints. And PvP players might find this an amazing update. And I find that most PvP players who replied to my, you know, my survey, they were like, wow, this is a good update, because I really like how we don't have to worry about ads anymore. So that's good. A lot of other people said that they like how you don't crash, which leads to ads in the first place. They're really liking how there really isn't that many crashing sites anymore, you know, how the game has more stability overall. And they really, you know, there's just a lot of things going on, and it's something that it's really just like all over the place. I think it was a reasonable compromise to increase prices and change the shops in hopes to get more people buying Amber. You know, this is all done to make up for the loss of ads, which we wanted in the first place. Like, here's the thing. If you were one of the people who complained about ads in the first place to Grove Street, you really cannot complain about this update at all, because your requests was kind of one of the reasons this happened in the first place, because they were just trying to keep everyone happy. They were trying to keep the peace, you know? So this is something that you kind of have to deal with now. And yeah, so this is something we wanted, so we have to kind of also compromise as they're compromising for us, you know, if that makes sense. All right, so I've contacted some YouTube influencers and some of my close friends with really good intake on things, you know, like they have a really good sense of reason. So I asked a lot of people that I think would have really good reasoning, and a lot of people that have a really strong influence in the Arc Mobile community, what they think about the new update. So let's get into that.
Generally think that it's a really good update. I think that the change to how they handle adverts and Amber was always going to be coming. Being able to moderate and control the adverts that are shown was always going to be a difficult thing and quite unsustainable. So I saw that one coming and I'm quite happy with that. I think I'm a little concerned at how they have reduced the number of items in the shop. I thought one thing that made Arc Mobile stand apart from the other forms of Arc was the access to decorations and items that the other forms don't have, and I'm slightly concerned at how they have reduced those so drastically. I think that the reasons might be down to how often they were actually bought. I don't think people bought many of them very often, and that might be the reason why they got rid of them. But I still think it's a shame that they felt the need to reduce those so much. I thought that really they should have been expanding that. Otherwise, I think it's a good update. I think it's going to lay the scene for a bigger update in the summer, which should open some more content, and I'm excited to see what comes then.
In my opinion, the spring update is really nice, because normally when you log on you get like those ads that, you know, like you have to click the X off, and it's so annoying because it just logs you out of the game and then you have to relog again, which we all know is annoying. Gathering Amber is so much easier for me personally, and I've had a lot of people tell me that it's easier for them as well, so I like that. The only thing I didn't think needed changing though was a shop. I mean, personally I found everything, and it probably is really selfish that I wanted it to remain the same, but I just personally didn't think it needed changing. But overall, I see no problem with the update.
Okay, well, so first of all, I think removing ads is a great decision. It ensures players won't be exposed to inappropriate ads anymore, and I have to admit I have seen some pretty nasty ads in my time. As we all know, Amber gives a massive advantage in the game. It speeds up your progress, it helps you defend your base, it makes your dynas stronger. Giving people that don't spend money in the game more ways of getting Amber is really, really great. I feel like it's gonna have a large impact on the base, and people are really gonna enjoy the game much more right now. Because right now they can't really compete with someone who just logs on and buys every single thing with Amber. That is definitely problematic on official servers, especially when you're starting off. Adding supply crates, supply drops to single player, that is a very good decision. Right now we only really get loot from dungeons and caves, and these have very specific loot tables, and some stuff is just unobtainable on single player. And now we can finally get these crop plot blueprints, as many as we want. I don't like that Primal Pass holders will now get 50 pass and extra Amber from daily pursuits. I don't like the idea that first they give people more ways of getting Amber, people that don't spend money in the game, and then just after they did that, they give people that spend money in the game even more ways of getting Amber. It kind of ruins the balance that they have just created. And Primal Pass is kind of must right now. I mean, there are servers, there's so many perks to Primal Pass, you almost can't play without it. I'm risking saying this. And eerie turrets and racing flags in single player, that is amazing. I've been really awaiting eerie turrets in single player, because they aren't only used to fend off survivors and enemies, they are also very useful to kill creatures, and I had no idea why they were not in single player. And, well, now they are, so that's awesome. And the racing flags, also pretty amazing, and definitely add a little bit spice to that single player experience. I can already see people building awesome racetracks, and I really can't wait to see them. So yeah, that's my opinion on the new update. Thank you very much.
Okay, this is the official Elevated Gaming statement on the update. There are a few things that he mentioned in here that I forgot to mention, like the new kind of midway update, which was the new structure prevention zones, which is kind of like avoiding meshing, which is really good as well. So he gets into that a bit, and yeah, so let's get into it. My thoughts on the latest update are all pretty positive. The removal of ads was needed in my opinion. They bogged down the game and took time away from players who may not have had the hours on end to sit and play. I think a lot of players were initially against it due to the loss of free amber, but Grove Street did a great job in adding amber to supply drops. Once players actually got in-game, I think everyone was fairly happy with the new system. As you know, I run the biggest unofficial server cluster, and I haven't heard any complaints about the new structure prevention zones. Meshing has been a problem since day one, and I think any step Grove Street takes to preventing that is a positive step. I'm personally not a fan of the new storefront. Some items were removed, and I understand why, but I'm still not a fan. I honestly liked the store how it was, and I think this was the only area that I didn't need improvement or reconstructing. I don't have a huge problem with the slight price increase, but I understand with the removal of ads the game still needs to run, so I'm not complaining. I'm glad to see the 50% increase on bonus amber for Primal Pass holders on daily pursuits. I think anything added to Primal Pass is well deserved. I don't personally play single player, so I can't really make a comment about the added features to single player gameplay. We all want to say, if I were a developer, I would do this, I would do that, but at the end of the day, we aren't. I think Grove Street has done a fantastic job with Arc Mobile, and they've opened a door to mobile gaming that no one else has. There is a ton more I would rather see, or would like to see in the future, but I think Grove Street has done a fantastic job so far. Alright, so now that the update, overall the update is kind of, gone through and all that, let's take a look at another thing I looked at. So I also took it upon myself to, ask the question, what would you like to see from ARC in future updates? What do people who took this survey want to see? And this was the part where I was really, really interested in the replies, because there were a lot of things I did not think of that people wanted. And now that I think about it, these are all really, really good things that I think the game should really take into consideration. So if anyone from Grove Street or anyone who kind of has a good tie with Grove Street is looking at this right now, have a look at this part of the video, because you might find some good ideas. You might, I don't know, probably aren't watching it, but if you are, just take a good look. There's some stuff you might want to take into consideration. Might have already known most of this, but you might not have, so yeah. I was really surprised to see how many people wanted triangle foundations. So many people wanted triangle foundations, and I can see it now, because there is a way to make circular foundations, but it's just a really, really tedious process. It's just something that really, it's hard. So if we had circular foundations, it might make life really easy, So triangular foundations is a really good way to make a circular foundation. So yeah, they really wanted more foundations or more building furniture, all that good stuff. They wanted all of that to be added, so there were a lot of people who wanted new structures kind of relating to the S Plus on PC version of ARC. So they really just wanted to see more attention given to ARC building, all that. Other than that, we got the people asking for a new map and other dinos like the Snow Owl or the U-Tyrannus, all those people, get those a lot. So an interesting thing I noticed was that they really wanted more stability when it came to loading large bases. They really just wanted to see, there were a lot of people who wanted to see more stability when rendering in long bases, all that stuff. They wanted more optimization as well. New color mute variants, all that good stuff. They wanted more server owner features. They wanted timers to bolas, and they wanted increased performances for all devices to be able to play on better graphics. That was something I thought was a good idea as well. They want tame limits on servers increased as well, which I know will increase lag, which will increase the amount of people complaining about lag. So it's really, really hard to keep everyone happy, More things I noticed was they wanted a mating button instead of whistling stop for dinos for 10 minutes. They also wanted double doors and more cool things in drops. Lastly, they wanted an X-ray tool for caves and, just to see the threats ahead. What I want to see. There are a few things I want to see in this update, and I feel like this is something that could really, really, really go well. And, yeah, so let's have a look at that. I want to see greenhouse dino gates, you know? I feel like I always wanted that, and it would be a really, really cool thing to see. You know, it could also reduce structure cap if you want to use the greenhouse thing with the dino gate. That's a really good thing to do if you want to reduce that. So for structure cap, it could reduce lag. And it's just a really good thing to see if you also want those kind of doors. I think that would be something that was really cool for building. However, there is one major thing I want to see from Ark in the future. Mostly what I want to see, however, is a way to unadmin without relogging. So if you have not been an admin before, if you're an official player, blah, 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 it's really a pain because as an admin, you can teleport to people, you can, you know, do all that good stuff, kind of like Minecraft creative, but you cannot teleport to other admins. And there are a lot of times where admins want to teleport to you, and it's just a pain to have to relog, especially if your device is old and it takes you a while to log back in. It's really just a huge pain. So if there was a button in the God console that you could press to unadmin yourself, it would save a lot of time. And I feel like that is something that I would really like to see. It would also be really nice to see a way to keep track of the structures in an area. I don't know if this already exists. I don't think so. But, you know, just like maybe a thing in the sidebar you can add in settings to just see how many structures are in each area so you can keep track of what you're building. But yeah, that's pretty much the update and some other things that other people want to see from future updates, you know. So it's really just a bunch of different things, and I really think that Ark can take some of this into consideration. If they're watching this, probably not, but you know, there's always a chance. However, yeah, that's the update, that's people's opinions. If you did not have a chance to, you know, do the form, I would love to see your responses still, so put them in the description, or not the description, oh my gosh, the comment section. Put them in the comment section. I would love to see your responses for that. So yeah, so that's pretty much the update. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. We're almost at 800 subscribers, guys. I'm really, that's mind-boggling to me. I really hope we can get to 1,000 by the end of the year. That could be good, you know, that could be good. You know, it just could be good. But I'm really happy with the rate our channel is growing, and yeah, so thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for supporting, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.